Hi, it's Ileana. So today we're going to look at remote viewing testing of photonic crystals for spaceflight technology. And the remote viewing was done on May 19th, 2024. So the Black Operations Group has labs where they are testing various shades of green crystals for light refraction properties and storing of energy and harnessing energy for internal components of powering spaceships. The crystals are maturated in vacuum-sealed cases for production and testing purposes. So this is what it looks like. These are the crystal labs, literally. And they have these various cases with the photonic crystals being grown inside the cases. That's why everything is closed. There's not crystals standing anywhere open on the lab tables. It's because most of them are being grown from nanotechnology in these labs, in these facilities that are secret facilities. They grow this crystal stuff called photonic crystals for integrating it into spaceships, powering spaceships and different devices. So when we look at the second lab, it literally, there's these kind of clear towers that you could see where the crystals, the photonic crystals, they're vacuum sealed inside and being grown in these labs. And then there's tables to check the quality of the product once it's finished being produced. They test it, they see how well it works, what its applications are. The wavelengths of those types of crystals need to be tuned correctly so they do not overload with temperatures or frequency, as too much energy can make them explode. And that is what the scientists at these labs are still trying to figure out. The formula ratios for in order to implement this technology and integrate it with the existing holographic components on their anti-gravity spaceships. So they need to figure out the proper formula ratios in order to implement this technology and integrate it within existing holographic components on their anti-gravity spaceships. Typical circuitry is being phased out from the anti-gravity crafts, and they are trying to replace it with photonic crystal technology instead. So that's interesting to know. They're trying to replace typical electronics and circuitry and replace it with these photonic crystals to make their holographic technology function better on the spacecrafts and I guess make it more advanced. And that's what these labs are specifically designed for, to do this work. And they have other labs as well. It's just the crystal technology is what is being implemented right now for future use in spacecraft. So, and photonic crystals can have various applications for different things. And these are the fully grown crystals that they're testing for their properties, quality, and that's out on the stands to be tested once it's fully, properly manufactured and produced. Photonic crystals have different shades of green colors, and these crystals can be manufactured to work with nanotechnology in order to power computers, navigation systems, communications, and replace electronics on craft to integrate with holographic technology with the holographic technologies used in spaceships. So that's the primary purpose of testing these photonic crystals for production and manufacturing. And this is another lab with the products. The photonic crystals are being nano-engineered with materials that are tailored for the infrared range. All photonic crystals have a lattice of one kind of material interspersed with open spaces or complementary materials so that they selectively allow certain wavelengths of light to pass through while others are absorbed. When used as emitters, they can selectively radiate certain wavelengths while strongly suppressing others. So that's the capabilities of these photonic crystals. They can emit certain wavelengths and they can also suppress others. That's what makes them photonic crystals to use in various aspects of devices on spaceships or integrating with spaceship components. So this technology is the way of the future, and it's applicable even to current things that they're working on advancing in these labs. Photonic crystals have use applications for various purposes like powering portable electronic devices, spacecraft to probe deep space, and new infrared light emitters that could be used as chemical detectors and sensors. I guess because of this refraction of light and working on the infrared spectrum, that's what makes these photonic crystals special and different from other normal crystals. Because why would you go through all this advanced setup of these labs specifically to work on green crystals? This type of crystalline product has various purposes and applications. That's why they went through all the setups of these labs to start producing these crystals, testing them, and manufacturing them for practical use application. Now, that's what this phase is all about. Other application uses for these photonic crystals could include creating devices for solar thermal conversion or solar chemical conversion, radioisotope powered devices, hydrocarbon powered generators, or components to wring energy from waste heat at power plants or industrial facilities. So to extract energy from waste heat, power plants or industrial facilities, that's interesting. Cleanup of waste, that's not bad. And use it as another power source once everything is cleaned up from the waste. The fact that these crystals can do this is a potential game changer here if it's used properly for the good of humanity and not for other things. Scientists at the Black Operations Group Crystal Laboratories are studying how to study the wavelength patterns in the photonic crystals and how to keep the crystalline temperatures in a steady state so that the crystals are not overloaded with temperature spikes when absorbing energy or releasing energy outputs to power various devices. Photonic crystals do grow on their own naturally on Earth in the form of green opals having organic compounds that can refract light and wavelength patterns. So using nano-engineered photonic crystals allows to create man-made energy generators and energy absorber technology, where the crystals are installed as parts of tech which powers spacecraft components, etc. Black Operations Group scientists are also studying various plant medicines for curing genetic and bodily diseases and reversing the aging process in order to create biologically compatible medications that can naturally work with the body without creating toxins or side effects in living organisms. So while this particular secret operations group is not very good because it keeps secrets, however, they're working on technology that has to do with curing diseases, genetic diseases, bodily diseases, and creating biologically compatible medications with the human body to not create toxins or side effects in humans and living organisms. That's interesting that they're working on developing that kind of stuff using natural plant medicine. That's not typical, but I guess since they have these labs, they can devote that time and create these applications. I hope one day humans get to see this firsthand and use this natural medicines, hopefully for the betterment of humanity, for curing diseases and not just working on it in labs in secret. The Black Operations Group has specifically invested in building the crystal labs to manufacture and test the photonic crystals to be able to replace conventional electronics and circuitry in their facilities and spaceships, so that communication systems do not have to rely on any type of internet or technology that is using signals to send information through computer systems to other server hubs. Fully integrated holographic and crystalline technology will one day replace the internet with quantum computing, which does not require Wi-Fi to buffer the systems, making them vulnerable to cyber attacks or security hacking or cyber spying. That's pretty interesting. Securing technology. Crystalline technology has the capacity to advance quantum solutions that encode beyond the speed of light capabilities for sending and transmitting information on quantum systems. Hence, the Black Operations Group has invested R&D into manufacturing the photonic crystals and building quantum devices with systems that are resistant to conventional technological hacking and will have quantum locks to prevent various attacks or security breaches on quantum technology powered by crystalline internal components. So basically powered by these photonic crystals that can be made into the size of microchips or smaller as internal components of the quantum technology. So that's what I understand from this remote viewing, what's going on. Photonic crystals can be manufactured, and magnetic plating that emits an external magnetic field, which creates the self-assembly of magnetic nanoparticles. So these photonic crystals are being manufactured on magnetic plating to basically, which emits an external magnetic field that creates the self-assembly of magnetic nanoparticles and thereby can change the energy and frequency outputs of the crystals for various application purposes, even for biomedical applications including color displaying, bioimaging, three-dimensional printing, sensing, etc. So these types of photonic crystals are sometimes grown and manufactured on magnetic plating so that it can create an external magnetic field, which creates thereby the self-assembly of magnetic nanoparticles, changing the energy and frequency outputs of the crystals to use for various application purposes, especially in biomedical applications. That's interesting. So there's dual purposes for these photonic crystals and what they're capable of doing and do actually in the field. The photonic crystals have brilliant refraction colors, instant responsiveness, and excellent manipulation ability. That is why scientists at the Black Operations Group Crystal labs are further studying the properties of these crystals for wide use application purposes for spacecraft internal devices, replacement of standard circuitry and electronics on the crafts, biomedical applications, etc. So these photonic crystals can easily be manipulated to take on different energy and frequency and use applications for what this remote viewing shows. So they're good for many different things, not just one thing. That's why they're trying to mass produce them in these research labs, R&D, specific investment in R&D and funds being put into this project work to do this. Not just one-off research, but on a full scale, manufacturing and production scale. They figured out how to manufacture them and produce them. They're just studying what the final results will be and how this will all work. So this was the remote viewing about what these crystal labs are being built for and what they do and what the Black Operations Group is involved in. And they have many other different types of labs in underground facilities where other things are being tested, reverse engineered for UFO craft, not of human origins, and other technology. So they have advanced stuff that they're working on, and this is just one part of what was seen in the remote viewing for these photonic crystals and these research, development, and study labs that are reproducing this technology. Thank you so much.